Delighted to have in the studio with us, of course, the person who keeps us on the straight and narrow. Nisha Jackson heads up Ventana Wellness, and hi.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I'm glad you're still above grass.
I am too. It's been a rough couple weeks.
You got the stuff that was going around.
You know, I've seen so many patients in the office that have been sick.
Yeah.
And I always brag, which you shouldn't do, that I never get sick.
Yeah.
I always take my supplements and I take good care of myself and I don't ever get sick. I became very ill, and I didn't even know what the problem was, you know.
What's interesting is, you know, you health professionals, you see sick people.
Right.
And school teachers get it with kids. You know, I'm wondering you don't get it more often.
I know. It is, you know, I try to keep my vitamin D level up to the upper end of normal limits because I really believe that's what will take care of a lot of the flu viruses that are out there. But I did this one thing, Perry, which I wanted to share on the show. I wanted to come clean about what I really did. So, you know, I've got this thing where if I can just sleep 8 to 9 hours at night, I exercise every day, I take my supplements, I try to avoid sugar, especially Monday through Friday. I try not to eat any flour or any sugar. So that's what I've done for years and years and years. And I always say, if I can just do that, I can do anything. If I just keep those basic principles going, right?
So what were you missing?
So I think this is what happened. I kind of think this is what happened, is that I was doing all of those things, but as the holidays came, which this happens to so many people, I started eating too much sugar all of the time. I started eating too many of the, you know, the bready foods, which are so good around the holidays, all the little treats that come into the office. And I didn't sleep as much because I was trying to do more, get more stuff done, to go out of town. And things just started to fall apart. I wasn't exercising as much. And then, of course, I was seeing patients in the office that were sick.
Yeah.
And I just really think it's so important that people realize that when you get under stress, your immune system is automatically compromised just from the stress. So especially people who are stress junkies, people who have chronic stress, they automatically operate on a lower immune cell standpoint. So those people have to do the basics. You can't let them go. But you know what happens when you get under stress? You eat comfort foods and you don't sleep as well because you're thinking about too many things, and you stop exercising because who has time for that? And then you get sick. So I really think that's what happened. And I tell people at the holidays, that's the most important time to take care of yourself.
It's amazing how we go through those cycles.
So it was a good learning thing for me. It just endorses what I really have been preaching all of these years, and it happened to me.
Well, there you go. I'm glad you're healthy. Listen, before we get into that, because here we are the first year and people doing a lot of New Year's resolutions. I'm going to get healthy.
Yes.
I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do all this. But we had a story on the news this morning talking about soft drinks are a tremendous contributor to depression. Is that true?
Yes, it is. In fact, a couple of months, I think I touched on that on the radio program, TV program. And the problem is more along the lines of the diet drinks. Now, both drinks are bad because they're just filled with multiple chemicals, especially the dark drinks, the dark soft drinks, the ones you can't see through. But the diet soft drinks...
You ever drop a coin in one of those?
Right. I always say you probably shouldn't be drinking something you can't see through.
Yeah.
Anyway, the diet soft drinks are, with the artificial sweeteners, we now know that it interferes with a neurobrain chemical, the transmission of neurobrain chemicals. And so this doesn't happen right away. It happens over a period of time. And it doesn't necessarily burn out the neurological pathways, but it changes the way that our neurotransmitters, our brain chemicals, are transmitted. And that can lead to anxiety and depression. Some people really actually, when they drink soft drinks, and some people are very addicted to soft drinks. I know I used to be. And I'll never forget the day in 2005, May of 2005, that I stopped drinking Diet Pepsi. And I was so addicted to it. And I really went through quite a time getting off of it. But I realize now, looking back, that there would even be periods of time, I think I even missed periods of time during the day where you just got spacey. And that's one of the side effects of these diet drinks. But I think it's a side effect more of the diet soft drinks than the regular sodas. So the soda drinks. So anyway, but both of them are bad. They're filled with chemicals that your liver has to detoxify. Your liver is working overtime to try to detoxify detoxify all the other toxins that come into your system through the air or through your skin or what we eat and drink. So it's really important to try to eliminate some of those things that are causing such a problem. And who needs anxiety and depression? We don't need any more of that.
Yeah, well, I've been around some of these soft drink addicts, and I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing, you know, they just can't put it down.
Right.
So anyway, the obvious thing there. Well, we're into the new year. A lot of people make New Year's resolutions. The gyms are full. This is only, this is only the first real week of the new year. I suspect the gyms will be empty by February.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
So what do we do in setting these goals? Give us some good tips here.
Yes. So one of the things that I think is important is to understand if you need accountability, because some people really do need accountability, hence the reason there's nobody in the gym after February. That's an exaggeration. Obviously, there's people that go to the gym, which I want to touch on before the end of the show. Going to the gym is really important, but having accountability is key. I have a walking partner that I walk with every day at 5 a.m. And if she wasn't there, I probably wouldn't go. I used to be so good and so accountable to myself, and I'm not that accountable to myself anymore. I have to have somebody that I need to meet, especially if it's 5 in the morning, which means you're getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. So I think that having somebody that you can meet is very important when it comes to exercise, because it's just an effort. It really is an effort. So I think recognizing if you need help is the first thing that you should do, especially when it comes to changing your eating habits. Somebody else in the family should be working on this with you, maybe your spouse or one of your children, working on just cleaning up your diet and being committed together to doing that. And that means that you need to clean out your house. If you have some remaining sugary things around the house because you just can't bear to throw them away because it was a nice gift from somebody through the holidays, put them in the garbage. Don't put them in the freezer. Put them in the garbage. You don't need them. Your family doesn't need them. Even the skinny people in your family don't need them, because sugar causes depression. It makes you tired. It stresses your system too much. So even the skinny people in your home don't need sugar. So that would be the other thing.
I've noticed if it's there and I decide not to go for it, I hunt that sucker down.
Oh, I know. I always say it's in the garbage, it's in the freezer. I'll find it.
I'll go get it.
I am not above digging in the garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a sugar addict like I am, you will go to no end to find that sugar.
Is there anything that can suppress that appetite for sugar? Yes.
One of the things that I think is really important, there's a mood supplement that we carry in our office, and one of the main ingredients in that is 5-HTP. Now, interestingly enough, Perry, 5-HTP raises a brain chemical called serotonin. And serotonin is what is also worked on with many of the antidepressants that are on the market. But the 5-HTP is an amino acid, so it's a byproduct of protein, and it's very safe to use, and it's very helpful for cutting down on cravings, because that's one of the benefits of serotonin, the brain chemical serotonin. So using that actually boosts up your mood a bit, helps you sleep at night, but it really cuts the cravings. So that's one of the supplements, the mood supplement. Even if your mood doesn't seem poor, but you're really suffering from cravings, that's something that you should consider using, or people should consider using, because I think boosting that up. Now, the caveat here is that when you're under a lot of stress, you have hurried stress, you have emotional stress, you have financial stress, whatever it might be, something that's just really bearing down on you and has been for a while, or maybe just an isolated event, your serotonin levels automatically go down. Which then, what do you want to do? You want to eat sugar or chocolate or something sweet to bring that serotonin up, because it works. When you eat sugar and you have a low serotonin level, it will automatically bring your serotonin up. That's why people are addicted to alcohol and sugar, because it works. The problem is it only works for a very short period of time, and then it drops very rapidly, and then you either have to have another alcoholic beverage or more sugar. And so that leads to the whole addiction potential, which ends up putting you somewhere you don't want to be. So balancing those neurobrain chemicals naturally, I think, is a really good option.
All right, Nisha's with us today. By the way, if you want to join the conversation, 776-5368. We can take some phone calls, 776-5368. All right, so before we take a break, tell me, what is the key I understand accountability. I think that is spot on, especially if you're working with maybe a workout trainer or something like that. That gives you accountability. But what's the key to longevity in this workout routine? Do we try to do too much too soon?
Well, I think so, because we are such an all or nothing society. We are. You know, it's like, and I'm the same way. I have that impulsive kind of personality, and it's all or nothing. But when it comes to exercise, you will, if you have not been exercising, you will burn out and injure yourself if you try to do too much.
Yeah.
So I think the consistency of it. There was a recent study that showed 15 minutes of exercise reduce your risk of heart disease by 40%. 15 minutes of exercise a day. So you could start with 15 minutes and look at not necessarily trying to lose 10 pounds in 1 week, but look at just making it a habit. That's the most important thing first, is making a habit. So 15 minutes of exercise, and then increase it as you go. But if you break a sweat in 15 to 30 minutes, that's probably all you need to do.
I've always gone to the gym. I'm not consistent with it because of my work schedule, but I try to get in, you know, 1 day every 6 months, whether I need it or not. No.
That's not true. I know you're active.
But I've changed my routine. I have about 3 routines, so I rotate so I don't get bored.
Right.
Okay. And the other thing I've learned, I don't have to go in there long.
Right.
I'm in and out of there in 40 minutes. I got my heart rate going, I've broken a sweat, and I'm back at the office. I mean,
yes.
I just learned how to hit it hard for 40 minutes and get out of there.
Right. Going to the gym or just going outside, I'm a huge proponent of going outside because I think there's something very healing about being outside.
Yeah.
So being outside is key, and we live in the Rogue Valley, right? So
yeah.
The Rogue Valley is wonderful for going outside. The weather's always pretty decent.
Yeah.
So going outside, even for 15 minutes, and I think we get that mentality, we've got to spend it a full hour in
yeah.
the gym or an hour and a half by the time you change your clothes and everything. If you have 15 minutes, you should still do it. Going and getting on a treadmill and going as fast as you can for 15 minutes will really do some good.
Yeah.
But you're right, changing up your exercise at least every 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how good of shape you're in, is very important for challenging your metabolism. So the metabolism is, your body's very smart. It will get used to whatever you do in a very short period of time. So every 4 to 6 weeks, you should either have like a trainer come work with you one time, or as much as you want, but one time to change your program every 4 to 6 weeks, or you change your program every 4 to 6 weeks. Now that could be if you like to go and walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes, 5 days a week, and you've done that for 3 years, you're probably not getting much benefit from that, except for it's good stress relief. But you're probably not getting good fat burning benefit from that. So maybe the option would be every 2 to 3 minutes, jog for 20 seconds while you're on the treadmill. Something that's different, that's getting your heart rate challenged. And the studies continue to show, Perry, that if we can get our heart rate challenged intermittently, where you're doing this pulsating, where you raise your heart rate up in a pulsating fashion, you will burn more fat. Really? Also, exercising on an empty stomach continues to be the best way to exercise if you can. Now that means 1.5 hours after you've eaten or before a meal. Right. So that's more effective, so you're actually burning the fat rather than the food that you just ate. But again, anytime is great. All
right, let me take a phone call here. The phone number, if you want to join the conversation, is 7765368. Hi, Vicki.
I was wanting to know about artificial sweeteners like Sweet and Low and Splenda and stuff like that. Is it better not to use any of that, or is there some you recommend?
Yes, I would get rid of all artificial sweeteners, and I'm not kidding. We are just on the cusp of finding more and more problems, serious problems with artificial sweeteners. They're really, our body doesn't understand them. Chemically, our body doesn't understand them. So I would get rid of all of them except for xylitol and stevia. Those are the 2 sweeteners that are acceptable that we have not found any problems with. So, and they've been around for a long time, stevia being the best. And they have some new and improved stevia that doesn't have quite the licorice taste. Everybody describes it a little different. I love it. I think it's a great sweetener, and it comes in different flavors. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, 7765368 if you want to join the conversation. I want to come back to the routine because you say break it up, do something different. I'm watching a lot of guys go to the gym and thinking that they're doing something by adding more weight.
Yes.
And I'm not seeing any change. I mean, I'm seeing all this bulking up and I'm going, is that really that healthy?
Right. Two things I want to say about men, and this actually there's a lot I would like to say about men. No, I love men. Two things I want to say. One is, if you're a man and you're going to the gym and you're not seeing any results and you're really working hard at it, you probably do not have enough testosterone, and you should be treated, and you should be checked and treated. More and more men with stress have lowered levels of testosterone, and that is terrible for your heart. It's terrible for your brain. You become very grouchy and irritable and depressed, and you can't make any headway in the gym. So that's the first thing, because I think that that has to be ruled out if there's a problem with fatigue and weight gain and hair loss. So that's one thing. The other thing is that the research continues to show with bodybuilding that the best way to do it is to not necessarily go up on weights unless you're really into bodybuilding, you know, and you're trying to go into a performance bodybuilding, but rather go slow on the lifting and pause for just a couple of seconds halfway through the exercise and focus on, literally mentally focus on the muscle that you are engaging. That has continued to show that that is the best way to build muscles and strengthen muscles. So that's what I would recommend, is not necessarily more weight, but slow down on the repetitions and then pause midway and really concentrate on that particular muscle that you're engaging.
And the reverse motion.
Yes.
We have a tendency to come back too fast.
Yes, because the reverse motion actually can be just as beneficial as the beginning part of the exercise. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Again, if you have any questions, 776-5368. Let me squeeze in. Hi, Helen. What's on your mind?
Yes, my question is that regarding degenerative disease, arthritis. I've heard that exercise with weight-bearing exercise is good for that and can, I don't know, not necessarily more or less arrest it and keep it from getting worse.
Yes, well, anytime you do exercise, and weight-bearing exercise is helpful just to keep the muscles strong around the areas that are inflamed. But I really believe with arthritis, there's a couple of things that I feel strongly about. One is, and I always sound like a broken record, but getting the hormones balanced. We know that people have more pain for women when their estrogen is low, or for men when their testosterone, when their testosterone is low. So getting the hormones balanced, one of the main side effects of low thyroid is inflammation and body pain. So many times people get diagnosed with arthritis type symptoms when really there's something going on hormonally. And then of course the stress hormones, when they're imbalanced, they cause more body inflammation. So hormonal balance is very key when it comes to correcting pain, especially arthritic pain. And then the other thing is removing everything from your diet that causes inflammation, which would be sugar, flour, artificial colorings, processed foods, basically eating foods from the ground, foods that walk around, foods from the sea, nuts and seeds, right? Just whole foods, that's the key. So I think that with arthritis, and then staying physically active so you have that circulation going and really getting good circulation to those injured areas or those sore areas can be very helpful. So that's what I would really encourage someone to do that's in pain.
The market's flooded with inflammation supplements or, you know, medication. Your caution on that?
Well, there are more and more supplements that, especially a lot of the antioxidants, that just help your body work better. They probably all work to some degree, although there's not as much regulation on some of these as I would like to see. But I think, honestly, getting down to the basics is where it's at. It doesn't always end up in a pill. So I think getting down to the basics. And I also would encourage people, if we just started a new program at the office, if you don't have insurance or you have a very high deductible, we have a new offshoot of our office that actually works with people that offers a very low-cost hormonal thyroid wellness program that includes a diet that I think will help people get back on track. So I'm excited about that program too. All
right, VentanaWellness.com.
VentanaWellness.com.
VentanasWellness.com. Check it out. All right, got only a couple minutes left. People want to lose weight this time of the year. This is the big thing. How do they start?
Yes, you know, I wanted to say this before we ended because I want everyone to start eating at the magic hour. That's 3 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon, because this is the problem with people today, Perry, is they'll eat lunch and sometimes not enough lunch, or maybe they're not the right type of lunch, too much starch, and then they try to go till dinner, but what they do is they eat a dinner while they're fixing a dinner, and then they're eating too many calories in the evening. So have a protein snack. Protein is really the best at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A protein or a high fiber carbohydrate like string cheese and an apple, or turkey or cottage cheese, some type of protein at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you will eat probably about 400 less calories in the evening than you would if you tried to just tough it out till you got to dinner. So that is one of the best things you can do, is eat at the magic hour, 3 to 4 p.m.
3 to 4 o'clock. All right, there you go. There's the tip of the day. All right, hi, Betty. What's going on with your flu shot?
Well, nothing. I just wanted to know what Nisha thinks about getting the flu shot.
Well,
how about that for an answer?
I think it's very important for certain segments of the population that are at risk, for sure. I have actually never had the flu shot.
I haven't either.
I probably shouldn't go public with that, but I've never had the flu shot because I think there's other ways that you can keep your immune system really boosted. But you have to be dedicated to that. So I would say if you're not dedicated to that and you're in a high-risk area, the flu shot's very important.
Seems to be epidemic this year, according to the national map.
Yeah. Now, I also want to say that the Cochrane studies, which is a very sophisticated group that looks at many different studies and they sort of evaluate the studies, they actually have identified that vitamin D at the right level is just as effective, if not more effective, than the flu shot. So that's very important, and it's not the dose of vitamin D, it is the blood level of vitamin D. So at some point, you should have your vitamin D level checked, and you want to be between 50 and 70. You don't want to be lower than 50, and you probably don't want to be more than 80 on your level. So 50 to 70 is what the research has been done on, and it's been very effective for correcting depression in the winter and the flu.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
How much vitamin D is it? Can you take too much vitamin D?
You can take too much vitamin D. Most of my patients are somewhere on 3,000 to 6,000 international units of vitamin D, and for children, they should take about 20 to 30 international units per pound.
Okay.
All right.
There you go. Nisha, thank you. You're wonderful. Again, VentanaWellness.com. You can check it out, and this new service you have available for those who have high deductibles, which is probably all of us these days.
I know. Well, I just felt it was important to be able to offer something because more and more people are fitting into that category, but they still need help.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great. We'll look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you.